What's up? It's your boy Ro Yoda, and today I want to talk about white lining. Is it good? But before we get into that, we need to understand the three types of white lining. All right, so number one, lane splitting, all right, aka white lining, is when a motorcycle weaves between traffic at higher speeds, like and emphasis on higher speeds. All right, and then you have number two, which is lane filtering. All right, now that's when a motorcycle weaves between slower moving traffic that is like stationary. So if like the cars are sitting still in traffic and you're just going in between them, kind of nice and easy. All right, and then you have number three, right, which is lane sharing. All right, and that's when two or more motorcycles are sharing the same lane, either side by side or staggered. So when we ride in groups, usually we're like staggered all together, or side by side riding. Now, what we're gonna focus on is really lane splitting, which is white lining, at higher speeds, and lane filtering. Because I think at this point, if you've been riding enough, I think you've done either a mix of the two or one or the other. So the lane sharing, that's a whole other topic that we're going to touch on in a later video, but let's talk about the first two. But number two, lane filtering. All right, now, am I guilty of this? Absolutely. Do I live in New York where it's illegal? Yep. And I really have no business doing it, right? But at the end of the day, I feel much safer knowing that if traffic is coming to a standstill, I don't want to trust the car behind me that he's going to stop that whatever ton vehicle, like especially when it's truck. Like, I just want to get the hell out of the way. I don't want to trust that this guy's going to stop. So I would rather just, cut up to the middle and keep going down cars and, eventually merge back into a spot where traffic is starting to pick up again. But besides that, I just don't want to get hit. But there have been proven studies that motorcyclists are more likely to be hit from behind, especially speeds under 50 miles an hour, like about 50 and under, right? So, hey, if that's 30%, less likely of me getting hit, I'm going to take that 30 and I'm going to hit that white line. If I get a ticket, hey, self-preservation. I am looking out for me. That's pretty much it. All right. Also, when you white line, you're more likely to be seen. And what I want people to think about is usually everyone's mirrors in their car can at least look or see the white line in the mirror. Now, if you put a bike there and with headlights, you're more likely to see that headlight if he's on the white line in both mirrors at the same time, like if he's in between the lane, versus being behind a car and almost being seen, kind of being seen, or maybe seen by one car, not the other, just because of the way he angled his mirrors. So I think it's a little safer for us to be in the middle at times. So if you are lane filtering in slow moving traffic, like even though it's illegal if it in your state or whatever, what I do suggest, if you are going to do it to keep you safe, do it in the best way that you can, is just cover the rear brake. All right, if traffic is at a standstill and you're chugging along at like 10-12 miles an hour, and sometimes you're turning the handlebar to get around, things like that, you don't want to hit that front brake while you're moving at that speed, because you're more likely to go down in that scenario. So I would heavily suggest covering the rear brake and just using the rear brake to help you massage your speed. Now, if you're the type of person to be buzzing down in between standstill traffic, yeah, you're kind of asking for it, because when that car jumps out, like, it does it so fast, it's like you can barely even recognize what's happening, and by the time you do, it's like you're already on top of the car. So just speed, like, keep it easy. You gotta go slow enough where you can stop, or at a speed that you can stop. Because be honest, if you can't stop the bike at that speed, you really shouldn't be traveling at that speed. And what I mean by that is, if you are not looking as far as you can see when you ride that bike, and at the same time being aware of your left and your right, your peripheral, right? And if you can't navigate like that, then you're gonna have a very serious issue when you do start moving at faster speeds, because you're only looking at what is right in front of you. And what you have to understand about looking what's in front of you is eventually you're going to get there really, really quickly, and by the time you see what's next, it's too late. So if you are going to do this or enter into this realm of white lining or doing it fast, you have to have the ability to scan and look ahead as far as you can see. Now, lane splitting, all right, woo, white lining when you're doing it fast. All right, now this is a whole issue in itself. It's because you have people that have skill that can really do this. I mean, they're gonna live forever. And there's people that are just pushing their limitations, and that's where everything gets like really, really bad. Long story short, me personally, I do not like being in traffic and being passed. Like, it makes me have to be more aware of what's behind me and my surroundings, versus me always being in a constant state of passing, not breaking the law technically, but like just constantly being in a state of passing the car rather than being passed by the car. And what would the car do after they pass me? Like, that's a big question that I always ask myself. Like, let's say the car comes in front of me and then he does something in front of me. Now I have to think about how to get out of there. It's like too much to think about, especially when the car is speeding. But if I can stay ahead of stupid, right, and then stupid does something behind me, what do I have to do now? Nothing, because whatever happened is behind me. My eyes are focused forward, right? To see what's next, what's happening. Like, I just think that that's just a better way of riding to keep you safe. Hey. Now, if you're going faster than what I'm saying right now, then you're speeding, all right? Like, really speeding. And what I need you to understand when you're going faster than that is that just like when you go fast through slow moving traffic, the cars start looking like they're standing still, right? So your path of travel looks very clear until a car just suddenly moves over. And then it takes you a second to even just process what's going on. So then it's going to take you like another second just to like get to the controls to do what you need to do, because it's very sudden. So it's the same thing when you go fast. Like, yeah, you may have enough space if a car moves out to move further out, or this, that, and the third, but at a certain speed that you're doing this, the room for error becomes smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Especially the tighter traffic gets, because if you don't see anything when you come out of in between a car or whatever the case is, you're really asking for it. These messengers, these bicycle riders in Manhattan, they just like just navigate. They've been doing it so long, it's like breathing to them. They're in and out, not a problem, never hit a car, right? Some of these guys are really skillful like that. They can just read traffic, they know what's going on, this, that, and the third, and they've like but some people can't read traffic. Now, I can't stop you from doing whatever you're doing. I can only tell you the best way to do it. And I'll be honest, there was a good friend of mine who told me this, and I think everyone should hear this. And don't go if you can't see, all right? I think those are words to live by. So, like, going fast is fun, splitting up your traffic, getting through, I get it. But if you can't see where that bike is going next, you really ain't got no business hitting that gas. Like, that is facts. Like, and a lot of people want to do it on roads they don't know. And even if you don't know, you have to remember that these surfaces out here, our highways are not kept well at all. Like, one day perfect, next day pothole, like, and that's the day you're turned up and you full lean angle and you got nothing left to get out of the way. And that's what we got to worry about. So long story short is, white lining good, filtering good, or is it bad? It's really, I guess, depending on your speed and the reason that you're doing it for. I think those are the two biggest factors. If there's a safe way of doing things and there's a not so safe way of doing things. I mean, it's already unsafe as soon as we throw our leg over the vehicle. It's a motorcycle after all, but we add on to it, and I think we just need to realize how much risk we're actually taking when we're doing these things. And just remember the idea of riding and being safe is the idea of saying that I want to ride again tomorrow. And as long as we keep that in mind while we make these decisions, whether they be legal or not legal yet, just do it as safe as you can. Like, learn the best way to do something, right? If you're gonna do stupid, be smart about it. Like, all right. With that being said, be safe out there. Road Yoda out.